Okay, hi guys, and welcome to the show. Today, state of the collection. I know, a little bit late this year, but for good reason. The hand heart, 6 years in the making. Enormous honor to co-design this reissue. This is the Red Lion, of course, limited edition. I've gone into all of that. I'm not gonna explain it. If you missed the video, have a look back. And then of course there was the Safari, which was 3 years in the making with Laurier. So here we are. Now, a little preface before we get into it. There are several watches missing, and if you want to see what's left the collection, have a look back at last year's. There's just too many watches. I don't want to do like a 2-hour state of the collection. Many of them have been sold or given away or traded in for next piece. So that pretty much explains it. But there are 3 watches that are in my collection, not currently present. There is, of course, my grandfather's Charles Frodsham, huge sentimental value to me. So it's a pocket watch, so that is safe in the bank, as is the Lion Shark, the Squale 1521 limited edition, which I co-designed. That's in the bank, and that's in the bank for another reason. Obviously, that has huge importance to me because it's the first time I ever co-designed a watch. But now I realize it was the first Swiss watch ever co-designed with a YouTuber or influencer. I loathe that term. But it's, yeah, so now it has a kind of even more historic importance. Lastly, a Rolex that I inherited. It's a lady's watch, an antique, solid gold, very fragile, very old, beautiful piece with a stretchy bracelet. But of course, I don't wear it, and I'm not going to sell it because it's a family heirloom. So that's also in the bank. Yeah, sounds like I'm waffling and rabbiting on far too much. Let's just get into it. So where should we start? Well, you'll recognize these 4 from the last video. The bluesy there, of course. The mighty hand heart, starting off heavy, there we go. The Red Lion, of course, and my customized mil-spec Hamilton. I just think I have to have a Hamilton in the collection, and what better than the quintessential, archetypal, the real deal military watch that's inspired the whole khaki lineup, which is, probably the most important watch collection. I mean, definitely the backbone of the brand right now. And that feeling of authenticity, the verisimilitude it gives off because it was issued and it's of that military specification. To me, it's the perfect Hamilton. And then the 2 Safaris. Now, if you're wondering what is on the wrist, I have the ivory and I've slipped it on the SOE strap from Wrist Candy Watch Club. This, truthfully, is a 20mm, so it's a bit too big because this is 18mm lug width, but I don't have one in 18, so it will just have to do. But they come on the melange strap. There you go. So, and I'm still deciding which one I like most. So yeah, it's God. I mean, what a place to start. Which reminds me, I should really talk about keepers first of all. There's your standard $50 G-Shock Square. This was my go-to cardio watch. I require something sturdy to do cardio every single day, so the G-Shock Square, usually it is, but that has been superseded by, let's bring it in. Now you'll notice some changes. This is the Mission Impossible Casio. The lettering on the outside, that green lime, not lime, it's like a neon green lettering has actually worn off, and I've put a filter. I've changed it many times. I had a blue filter in there. You can buy these little filters on eBay, mod it out yourself. And with this slightly tinted yellow, it gives it much more of a retro vibe, which I really quite like. Still one of the best Casios under 40 bucks, if not the best. So I like without the lettering look. It looks much more tool-tastic and kind of low-key now. And you know what, I'll put before and after so you can see. But this is a testament to how much I've used this watch. This is my favorite Casio, the DW290, of course. And I might buy a secondary one just to have it, like in the film, exactly like in the film, and then my own custom modded one here. And then without a shadow of doubt, I cannot talk about a collection without the classic F91W. This was a gift last Christmas. I have truthfully several. I have the original. You just got to have the original. I have this translucent one, which is just a great bit of fun. And then I have a grey one, which I put on the underneath of straps, if you remember. Sometimes when I like to have 2 watches on the same strap. Yeah, I've done a video all about that. But anyway, yeah, so I cannot do this without your classic Casios there. So this really is representing about 3 or 4 different versions of the same watch, you know, for $10, infinitely collectible. Another keeper, you know, the Pepsi, the good old Pepsi, my de facto traveler's watch, but also it's become very, very useful during lockdown because I have meetings, Zoom meetings with people all over the world. So having a GMT, especially if you're dealing with family in Italy or the UK or all over Europe, very, very useful. It's funny how the world changes and, you know, the complications suddenly have a new meaning. I don't know if you guys have found that. Another keeper, I've kept it in this case. This is actually what it came in. This is the linen dial. I'll do a cutaway so you can see it. This is the linen dial day date, the second day date I have, because I wanted the double quick set. The original with the champagne only had the single quick set. I forget the reference numbers, but honestly, does it even matter? I left it in here very deliberately because it kind of inspired the Unico case I co-designed for Carl Friedrich with the little cushion inside, because I needed something to transport my watches in my pocket. There's a singular backup watch that was based on the idea of this. If you see, this has an inner section, so the whatever metal, if it's gold or steel, it doesn't scratch the underside of the watch. So it protects the watch from itself. And that was kind of the thinking behind this. And of course, you've got the latch system, so it doesn't actually accidentally, if I latch it in, when you pull it out the pocket. So this really was a lot of testing and trial and error to come up with the perfect singular watch case in the highest quality Italian leather. But what I'm trying to say is that this is the genesis. This ugly, horrible thing here is the genesis of the design behind this. So I thought I'd mention it. Of course, another keeper, I don't see myself ever getting a different day date. I love the understated nature of the linen. Another keeper, well, we haven't had the Seiko yet, but the mighty Flighty, there it is. There it is. Always on an NDC. I cannot take it off this strap. I've actually cut the extra double strap off just to make it a little bit more comfortable. I love how that Viper style yellow stripe kind of complements and echoes the seconds hand. Again, another keeper. I've bought and sold this watch numerous times, and I've just decided, you know what, it's staying, it's not going anywhere. And while we're on the subject of super busy aviation watches, the Navitimer, a classic. Back on the bracelet, sometimes I wear this on the strap, the Rios, but I have to say I love these super polished, kind of at an angle link bracelets that Breitling do. To me, this saves me from buying multiple Navitimers. I love that 24-hour way it shows time, because of course, very deliberate. First chronograph, the first wristwatch, mechanical wristwatch, designed specifically for space, way before the Speedy. Well, the Speedy wasn't even designed for space, that was a racing chronograph. So this is a very, very special, you know, this is the Scott Computer Cosmonaut. It's the most busy, the most tooltastic, the most unique. Still a soft spot in the used market. You can pick these up quite reasonable from Japan, and that's where I got this, and it was absolutely mint. I mean, the loom still functions, everything. It was in pristine condition. Yeah, it just, in the long run, I guess it saves me money, because I'd love to have multiple Navitimers. There's no reason to have multiple Navitimers, but this kind of ticks so many boxes. You've got the Lemania inside, the manual wind, so it's a smidgen thinner than the automatic. Right, another watch. Well, this is the second watch I co-designed with NTH, and a very special project. It's the Catalina, because it's a hybrid of a diver. It's got the diving 300 meters water resistance with the screw down, fully loomed out crown, and a fully loomed bezel, but at the same time it's designed for pilots and takes inspiration. If you know your aircrafts of World War II, you'll know the Catalina was an amphibious plane, very, very instrumental. It was the plane that spotted the enemy fleet at Midway, used by the Brits, the Americans, and I think the Canadians as well. So it was instrumental, but this broke a record of being the thinnest, and still holds that title, the thinnest automatic pilot's watch with 300 meters water resistance, a staggering 11 millimeters. Amazing. Got it on the collar reb, my favorite collar reb. You can buy these from Holborn's or order them directly. Oh, and I neglect to show you, there's the good old Gentry lion holding the hourglass, representing all of you guys out there. Just a wonderful, wonderful watch. I hardly wear it because it's so special, and I just, I don't want to muck it up, really. This pretty much stays in the safe. Put this over there. Another keeper, very important watch. The Accutron, the Space View. I've settled on this one. I've owned several. I come and gone over the years, but this is the closest one I could get to the Richard Rogers one. Massively, massively important bit of not only American history, or horological history, the pre-quartz technology, kept secret because of the Cold War, because it was used in spy satellites. Then when it became public, this was actually used as a display model, but people loved its futuristic style. To see the movement, this not pitchfork, I always get that wrong, tuning fork technology, 2 magnets. You get that super, super smooth and accurate sweep there. I'm going to be covering Accutron, and since, I don't know when it happened, but obviously I'll discuss it in a future video. Accutron split from Bulova. They've kind of become Bulova's, I guess the best way to describe it is Bulova's Grand Seiko. So, because they come out with the electrostatic technology. Again, we're going to cover this, definitely cover this. Another keeper, well, the 1962. I love the 1972. It's being fixed as I record this, but inexpensive Panda dial, very fun. I've owned many, many Dan Henrys, but this one just does it for me. It keeps me from lusting after speedies that I can't afford, and to be honest, I probably wouldn't wear. So this just scratches that itch for me. Mecha Quartz. You got the Ducati on the back, limited edition, great size, 40 millimeters. I've put it on the Fluco Nizza suede dark suede. This is from Holborn's. Fluco, in my opinion, hands down, make the best suede straps. I've worn this on date justs. I've worn this on, I think I've worn it on the GMT as well. Yeah, I've worn it on the GMT. Numerous watches. Soft, beautiful, German handmade. Only 36 bucks. Very difficult to beat. So supple. Fun. Great piece, definitely a keeper there. Another keeper used to be my favorite watch, the Explorer. Again, I can't remember the reference, don't ask me for references. Put it on this waffle, kind of retro, really great strap from Riscani Watch Club. I love the simplicity. I love the 36 millimeter size, and it's just one of those do-it-all pieces. It started a whole trend in my own collecting experience. Like, I'll pull in some more watches in a minute that this definitely inspired. It's so understated. It's still the better side of Rolex. It's just an honest tool watch, none of the pretense, although the prices have gone ridiculous. Real shame. Just still a fantastic watch. It's so funny, I was never a fan until I borrowed one, and it just goes to show experience is the greatest education. And speaking of favorite watches, this is the one that stole the crown, the Squale Sub 39 TGV limited edition. Totally stole my heart away. It's the perfect diver, in my opinion, based on cases that Squale did even earlier than, if you know the history of Neuchâtel, if you know the history of the diving center there, very, very important. Squale actually made cases for Blancpain, some of the earliest dive watches in late 50s, early 60s. This is one of the cases that they brought out the archives. I remember Andrea Maggi, the owner and boss of Squale, showing me the original. It was 34 millimeters. I actually owned the Blancpain version, and I had no idea that Squale even made cases for that particular model, but they did. Squale is one of those brands that goes right back to the infancy of modern dive watches as we know it. So to own a bit of that at an affordable level, and to have my initials on the dial is just a huge, huge honor. And you can see that Explorer, obviously Explorer doesn't have the 12, but this was the thinking. I wanted no date. So this was the first Sub 39 with no date. With that marvelous 39mm case, the perfect kind of balance between vintage and what Squale are doing now, just fantastic. Anyway, so yeah, very, very special, and I still wear this. I'm not afraid to wear this. The Lion Shark is just too special. What else? Well, talking of divers, the dear old subby, we've if you follow me on the channel, you know my trials and tribulations with this watch. It almost got sold, and thank God I didn't. The prices are just insane. I just look at that top hat, plexiglass there, just amazing. It's really thin, I mean, with the exception of that, but you can see the Rolex sign there, the Holes case, absolute strap monster. Very dated, but super lovable. This is my Submariner. This is, just wears great. More unique than the ubiquitous subs you see everywhere, but I know it's Tudor, but nobody else knows it, and I like that. Yeah, I'm not going to rap it on about it because I've done so many videos, but this and old Bluesy there, I mean, what a dichotomy. You can see why I put it on the Jubilee. This is understated, tooltastic. That is a little bit of pizzazz, out and about, but still both capable, legendary divers. What else? A watch I haven't really shared that much, the Hemel here, the Hemel chronograph. This is the League of micro brands, and this was a gift from the owner of Hemel to me, who's a friend of mine, and he actually had this made. I'm kind of like an honorary member of the League. There you go, Hemel Air League. There you go. So, really nice little dog tag he had custom made. Hemel's a great brand. I love them. Before I even knew Marvin, who's just an incredibly cultured gentleman, and he's a master of design and came up with this. It's a little bit too big for me, but it's 42 millimeters, but it has that wonderful seagull column wheel chronograph in there. So yeah, it's a keeper, it's a gift, and I've put it on this Rios 1931, I believe. This is from Holborn's. You're wondering why there's a Breitling buckle. Well, I wear this typically on the Cosmonaut there, but because this has got 22 millimeters, and this is fantastic aviation, the best aviation straps money can buy, handmade in Germany, and I still can't believe how affordable these straps are considering the quality. So I bought an aftermarket Breitling buckle when I wear it on this. I can't be bothered to take it off. I don't know where I put the original buckle, but it really suits this aviation chronograph. So yeah, a wonderful gift, and I'll treasure it forever. You can get the airfoil. I think they're about $500. The same column wheel chronograph. Amazing value for money. Yeah, I highly recommend Hemel. I've been a supporter of Hemel for many years, donkey's years, since the beginning, because they're just one of the best micro brands out there, in my opinion. And another gift from a dear friend of mine, my little Audemars Piguet dress watch there on the suede strap. Super thin, manual wind. Very simple. The quintessential dress watch. Absolute pure class. This is old money. None of that flashy rubbish they have. Like chandeliers all blinged out, and look at me. This is when Audemars Piguet were really the choice of aristocrats and royalty, and something much more refined. But this is a very unusual watch because of that screw down. Never see a screw in case back like this, and this little sides actually gives you a clue. This is one of Genta's the lugs also kind of give it away. Genta's pre Royal Oak designs, so it's quite old, I think from the 60s. So an incredibly important piece, bit of history. So that is my little piece of horology there, aside from the Frodsham, obviously. Okay, another keeper, completely on the opposite end of the spectrum. I managed to score this. It's a collector's piece, and it's actually on the cover of the Swatch Collector's book I own. See Shakespeare there, the mirror, 34 millimeters in size. Amazing that I scored it in such condition with the original box. This is worth quite a pretty penny now, but it's basically the original that the giant one I have hanging up in the war room is based on. So a nice tribute, or kind of ties in quite nicely there. Okay, next, another Explorer-inspired purchase. The Seamaster with that legendary 500 caliber automatic movement, the same caliber you would find in the very first Seamaster diver, the 1957 trilogy. In my opinion, and I've said this a million times before, and you'll notice there's no hippocampus on the back because this is pre-hippocampus. This is the same watch they strapped to the side of a plane, flew it over the Arctic or wherever it was to prove how tough. I mean, I'm talking about the outside of a plane, okay? How tough they are. Kept time. Wonderful, wonderful automatic movements. Beautiful to look at too, with those swan neck regulators and all of that. I just love the layout of this. I don't wear this enough. I really should do it. It's funny, it doesn't get that much love. I think it's just because my taste is, I guess, kind of old school. Everyone wants the new Amigas, and so be it. But this is from when Amiga was truly an in-house complete. Well, they are now, but I mean, this was independent Amiga making stuff in-house completely by themselves. I don't know. It speaks to me. I've been through so many. Well, look, I've shared. You know what? I'll leave a card up there. I've shared my journey of Amiga from, countless. I lost count of how many Seamasters I've owned, but to me, I wanted to go back to the start. Something a little bit more unique, and just look at how those faceted indices refract and shimmer, just glorious, absolute glorious, really pure class, this one. Oh, and by the way, if you're wondering, this is a short strap. I've talked about this strap before, also from Holben's. Oh god, I can't remember the makers of this strap. You know what, I'll do a cutaway. I'll show it on the screen because in post I will look it up and then help you guys find these. This is a short strap, so really useful if you don't have gargantuan wrists and you want something a little bit more fitting. Wonderful quality as well. Okay, next the ladies G-Shock metal, which I've actually custom brushed there on the top to give it a, like the G-Shock metal look. Do you see that at the top? One of the best negative screens they've ever done, and really has filled me with hope for modern Casio. And I just, it also proves that they can do a G-Shock in a tiny size like this. Cracking watch. I haven't worn it hardly. I just haven't really had wrist time for it. But yeah, inexpensive, about 160 bucks. Great. One of the best G-Shock metals. I don't care wearing a woman's watch. It's to me, this is how it should fit. It's if you pull in the Explorer there, it's like not that much bigger. So I love that it's compact and more discreet and doesn't have lots of G-Shock written there. It's very understated, very cool, and wears like a normal watch. So, but still has that G-Shock 10 bar, this 10 meters shock resistance if you drop it, all of that stuff. So I'll put that there. Next we have the Fortis, the mighty Fortis, one of the rarest Fortis watches you can buy, the original 38mm Cosmonaut with the Lamagna 5100. Incidentally, the same movement that is in the Porsche design that the Dan Henry I'm having fixed is has inside. Yeah, Fortis for me, it's difficult because I love this watch, but yet it's become so rare that I'm kind of scared to wear it, and I really want to wear Fortis more, every day. That is why I am considering maybe the 39mm, the new Fliegers next year. Who knows? Let's see what they come out with. I'm gonna get in the Marine Master to review because, well, amazing 40mm size, and I love that design. Very kind of 70s retro, but yet modernist. And you guys know I'm a big fan of Fortis. I visited their factory, and they're just absolutely knocking it out of the park. If a magazine or an online publication or a channel is not talking about Fortis, there's something wrong, because an independent brand with that much history, that much significance and importance to the history of watches. I mean, they manufactured the first automatic watches, collaboration with John Harwood, the British horologist. And then they have this huge lineage with space watches. They need to be talked about. They need the recognition. So this is really kind of a museum piece. So rare because this is the International Space Station version. And I love how it displays, I mean, this is designed for astronauts, obviously. It displays the minutes with that jet tip. a trait of the La Mania 5100, and very, very cool indeed. Day date, 24-hour display at the top, obviously, because in space there is no night or day, a vital complication, and 200 meters water resistance. I mean, I don't know if that's the case anymore, because this is a very, very vintage 90s watch, but absolutely tool-tastic. Love this piece. Okay, another little keeper here that, I mean, they're just so affordable and fun. The data bank, I actually took it off the original metal. This is far more comfortable. I don't really wear it. It's occasionally for a bit of fun. I just love the design of it. You know, it's one of those watches that gives you that hit of nostalgia from childhood. I thought they were the coolest things. And it's funny, they almost became aspirational for yuppies. You'd see yuppies with their Porsche and then a data bank, so I guess they can calculate how much their stocks and, you know, all of that good stuff. The gold ones always make me think of Harry Enfield's Loads of Money. You know, that it definitely has that 80s vibe. That at the side, it kind of also reminds me, especially this trackpad of Star Trek Next Generation. So I love that too. Yeah, a bit of harmless fun. So yeah, I have to have one of those. Why not? Talking of 80s-ness, the Giugiaro, there we go. I did have the Ripley, then I changed to the PVD Ripley. I just think this one's more wearable. Having said that, I've hardly worn it, but I love the story behind it. I love the connection to the importance of these watches, what Giugiaro was doing, really revolutionizing design with these watches. So very, very important as well. Who knows, I might flip this one. It doesn't really get much wear. If I did flip it, I'll put the money towards the Grand Seiko. I want to have a heavyweight Seiko, and this right now for me is it, because as I said, it's historical importance and legacy of design, and also it's movie star status. But yeah, it's, what's the point if you don't really wear it? It's more like a objet d'art that you look at, you know. So anyway, a whole topic of discussion for a future video, I guess. But yeah, still a very, very cool, lovable watch. Bit divisive, bit of a Marmite watch, but oh well. Talking of watches that may be on their way out, yeah, the bronze Superman here. I have loved this watch. I lusted after it, but I regret selling the steel one. The steel one had that magic. This one, for me, just doesn't have that same feeling. I do love the coppery kind of off gold color of it, but as I said, it's kind of fallen out of favor with me. It does have the newer in-house movement, very, very impressive, wonderful, wonderful history. You know, now they've started their relationship being issued to the Marine Nationale. I mean, God, watch companies would kill for that. But I haven't worn it. I typically, you know, I go to my Tudor, I go to my Squale, I go to my other divers. Yeah, this is definitely on the chopping block. Sad, but I got too many divers. You know what? I should have sold the original steel Superman. That is an amazing watch. I'm talking of on the chopping block, my modded little Bond Seiko with the custom dial. I haven't worn this. I really haven't worn this. I've got it on the Valor strap. No date, of course. I had everything upgraded to kind of mimic the big crown. I can't remember the Bond 6538. That was it. Dr. No Submariner. But yet, I just don't end up wearing it. I think I was more excited about creating the watch and customizing the watch than actually the finished thing, which, don't get me wrong, cracking watch. And Tempest, my good friend Paul there, did an amazing job, but I just don't wear it. So this is probably on the chopping block. Another watch purchase, the SNK Seiko 5. I'm not sure if these have been discontinued. I bought this for next to nothing with the intention of modding it. I'm not going to go through with it. I've got too many watches. I don't want to spend like $500, $600 modding a watch and not wear it, you know. That's money I'm going to be saving for the Grand Seiko. So, cracking watch. It is on the chopping block. Last, but by no means least, the watch that initially inspired the Safari. It's amazing 36mm Lord Sanford. I have still no idea about this brand or this watch. All I know is that it's some kind of homage to the Ranchero by Amiga, that itself got discontinued and it's become extremely rare. I've discussed the story about this watch in the making of the, I've got it on, the Safari there. I know they look completely different, but, and there was even a black dial Safari, just didn't have that magic, but so we went with ivory and copper, but this is a manual wind piece. I still love this watch, bit scared to wear it. Now the Safaris are done, I think it's served its purpose. I think it deserves a home, somebody that's really going to enjoy it. So this is potentially on the chopping block. Quite a few watches on the chopping block at the moment, but I really need to start saving, putting money towards the Grand Seiko, also a Cartier I've got my heart on. So there we are. Now, before I go, I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody who's supported me over this last year. It has been amazing, really fantastic, and you know, everyone that's commented and liked the videos and all of that good stuff. And I just want to say happy holidays, of course, and happy new year. I can't believe it's going to be 2022. I had envisioned, you know, flying around in kind of Blade Runner style flying cars. We're not quite there yet, hopefully soon. But in the meantime, until I come back in the new year, I want to point out a couple of great channels. First of all, SoCal Watch Reviews. I did an interview, I'll put a link here. Do check it out, with Miguel and Ross P. It was a tremendous honor, fantastic guys, and they're doing amazing work, so do support that channel as well. And of course, an old friend, Mark and Russell, the Mad Watch Collector, which I've had on my channel as well. I did a kind of Christmas special with them. My best to all of you, grazie tantissimo, and I will catch you prossimo anno. Okay, ciao.